welcome back to the Lifeside Podcast. My name is Shole. I'm your host. Today's episode is a comprehensive guide on all things law of attraction and manifesting. A few of you had asked to expand on this topic and share mindset shifts on what it really means to be the co-creator of our life experience. And say no more, I'm super passionate about it. I've been manifesting deliberately for 15 plus years, and I have so many stories. I wholeheartedly stand by the law of attraction, and the stories will be for another episode, but my intention is to demystify the law of attraction and its principles, so much so that it becomes second nature for you and that you can apply it to your everyday experiences. There's really no on and off switch when it comes to manifesting. It's not like we can pick and choose. We're either consciously or unconsciously manifesting at all times. I'm going to share several strategies on how to effectively manifest. We'll cover common mistakes and how we can avoid them. Before we do all of that, we're going to jump into the science of it and how quantum physics explains the law of attraction and energy and how all of it works from a scientific perspective, and the history of it, and the fact that it's been woven into our society and lives for thousands of years. It's not new age stuff. Then we'll wrap up with an analogy to bring all the concepts and strategies together and make it super crystal clear and easy to remember so that you can apply it to your daily life. Something you hear all the time is just manifest it. And it's like, okay, I would if I could. Like, how? And it sounds like a lot of woo-woo, new age spiritual jargon, but whether or not we believe in manifesting, we're always manifesting all the time, and we may not even know about it. So that's why I'm a big proponent of being a conscious manifester and choosing to take the rein and be intentional about what we bring into our lives and what we're manifesting instead of allowing it to happen unconsciously. Let's start with what law of attraction and manifestation means in super simple terms. In a nutshell, manifestation is the belief that you can bring tangible experiences into your life through your intentions, thoughts, and beliefs. We'll talk about the how in this episode. Law of attraction is the idea that positive or negative thoughts bring positive or negative experiences. Like attracts like. So if you focus on positive, you'll attract positive. If we focus on the negative, or if we have a critical mindset, we'll attract negative situations or more to criticize. Really, all of it emphasizing the power of our thoughts, beliefs, and most importantly, our feelings as our vibration in relation to everything and shaping our life experiences. To explain these concepts scientifically, we're going to refer to quantum physics, which is the study of the teeniest particles and building blocks of our universe. And what quantum physics has proven and has shown us for sure is that our body is made up of cells, which we know are made up of molecules, which are made up of atoms, which are made up of subatomic particles that contain a nucleus, and it's surrounded by electrons, which are waves and concentrations of energy. So everything from our bodies to trees, plants, you name it, are fundamentally made of the same thing, energy. We are constructed from energy, simply put. I wanted to share this because there is a misconception that manifestation is a lot of woo-woo, new age, spiritual jargon. But really, it roots back to just the science of how things are made up in the universe. It roots back to ancient history and philosophies that have been shared and spoken about widely. There is so many quotes around you speak things into existence, even in religious texts from Buddhism to Christianity and really every religion. The way I see it is there is a concept of praying, right? It's like ask for what you want and have belief, have faith in it being answered and coming to fruition, which is a lot of what we talk about. We talk about being grateful for it, and religion teaches that too. Really, it has been woven into our life since the beginning of times. There is a lot of text around ask, seek, find it, or, there's this also, there's a basic philosophy I've followed for the majority, for as long as I remember. And it's this notion that life is a mirror reflecting back to you your intentions, thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. And it's also covered by many texts by different philosophers and spiritual teachers. And not to turn this into a religious podcast, but I think it's good to share some examples in case that helps resonate more. Buddhism says all that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become. Judaism says, for as far as he thinks in his heart, so is he. The Bible says, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. There is also quotes from Taoism, Sikhism, Hinduism, Islam, the Baha'i faith, you name it. Every religion brings up the law of attraction and creation and the power we each have within us in different contexts and different words. And we can translate things in different ways, but it's interesting and fun to tie that in because these concepts aren't new age. They've been ingrained in our society for thousands of years, but there are different traumas that come with religion. And I think that's how The Secret revolutionized all of this back in 2006, 2007 timeframe when it first came out, became such a popularized concept, but almost in the way as if people were expecting things to turn out like magic. And I think it had a lot to do with the examples shared. Like if you believe you have $1 million, you will have $1 million. Like it would happen within a day or something, right? Which created a lot of doubt in people and skepticism. But if you follow Abraham Hicks, if you don't, I highly recommend, the teachings that are taught in The Secret really come from Jerry and Esther Hicks. They have written many books and different audios and things you can listen to. I'm happy to make recommendations. I want to demystify the whole idea that manifesting is far-fetched, unrealistic, it's wishful thinking or hoping for the best, which, there's nothing wrong with hoping for the best, but there are actual tangible things and steps and practices that can make us a conscious creator versus an unconscious creator. Learning the laws, knowing the tools so that we can improve our energy, improve our vibration, since everything is at its core energy, even though it might look solid or we might not see it. One of the key principles we've talked about so far is that whether or not we intend to, we are consciously or unconsciously manifesting at all times. And so we want to take the rein and be intentional about what we're manifesting. One of the greatest tools that is always at our disposal is our feelings, is our emotions. And we can tune into that to know whether or not we're in alignment with the things we're trying to manifest. And we can hone that skill to be able to do that at any time. I think the biggest secret when it comes to manifesting is knowing that our emotions are the underpinning indicator as to what we're manifesting. How we truly manifest comes down to our emotions, which is our vibration. Our vibrational frequency is how we feel. So in order to attract the things that we want into our lives, we need to match the vibrational frequency of what we want. And we just talked about quantum physics and how everything at its core is comprised of energy. And so knowing that our energy, our vibration, is made up of our emotions, then we can feel deeply empowered that we can always tune into how we feel and change the frequency when we need to so that we can be a vibrational match to the things, to the life experiences that we wish to have and become a deliberate creator, as Abraham Hicks says. I love this stuff so much, as you can probably tell. I'm so passionate about it because I've seen it work for the last 15 plus years. Okay, so with that said, let's dive into the tips and strategies of how we can effectively do that on a day-to-day basis. And so we need to be matching the energy of what we want. And in order to do that, we need to be very crystal clear about what we want. So number one is your thoughts attract your reality. What you focus on grows. We want to be very clear about what we're putting our thoughts and our focus on through clear intentions and being specific about what we want. So this is something you can do by having a practice of writing down 1 to 5 things you're manifesting on a daily basis. Be very clear about what you want, not just a generic, I want to be successful or I want a relationship. Be very detailed about those things and what they mean to you. For instance, I have a healthy work-life balance. I enjoy the people I'm working with. I feel really high energy. I feel like my energy and efforts are reciprocated. Write down and ask for what you want. It can be on your notepad or in your notes app on your phone. Clear about the things that you want, the things that you want to experience, being very detailed about it, being uninhibited about it. I think a lot of what we tend to manifest is what we think is possible for us, which is something that you can work with a coach on. This is where limiting beliefs come into play a lot. And so, if that's something you're dealing with, please reach out. I'm happy to help or refer you to another coach if I don't think that's my area of specialty. There's a hack I take from scripting, which is a process of writing down what you want as if it's already come to pass, if it's already happened or is happening, which is writing down your manifestation after you write down your desire, writing it down in present tense. And doing so, really feel the feelings of it and be grateful for it, which is really tip number 2, is feel the gratitude as if it's already happened, as if you've already received it. If you're manifesting a new job, you say, I'm so grateful for the job that I've landed. My colleagues are amazing. I get paid generously. I'm so happy to work with this company. And really detail it out as much as possible, really bringing it up into your energy. A lot of times we suppress feelings as if it's a bad thing, but we tend to forget that it's through our feelings. That's why I feel like stars and performers that are very passionate tend to attract so much abundance, is because they're fully embracing and feeling their feelings. They're fully embracing their passion. They're fully feeling the joy that they feel. I think a lot of times we suppress how we feel because as if it's like some taboo thing to have emotions, but that is just false. That mentality doesn't serve us. And so allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to be joyful, allow yourself to be grateful for the things that you don't see yet through your belief that it's going to happen because you asked for it. You are becoming an energetic match to it, that it's only inevitable. I know that requires a lot of belief, but we're going to talk about how you can get there. And then 3 is self-concept, as within, so without. This is where your beliefs become extremely powerful, particularly your beliefs about yourself. The beliefs you have about yourself determine your life experiences. Your outer world reflects your inner world. So for instance, if you don't believe you're worthy of love or being chosen, or you're not smart enough, you're not good enough for a job, then life will reflect that back to you, largely because your beliefs determine the actions you take, but because your energy exudes that. When you think that about yourself, you likely don't feel good enough, likely don't feel high energy. You likely feel down. And because that is the idea you're selling yourself, your actions reflect that, but also the energy of all other things, if we go back to quantum physics. And so you can't attract good things that you want when your energy is in the low vibrational frequency. This is where psychology explains how each of us have a baseline. And our baseline feelings, our baseline emotions are what we naturally tend to find ourselves at. Like wake up. It's the feelings we wake up with first thing in the morning. It's our thermostat. As Gay Hendrick puts it in his book, The Big Leap, we all have an upper limit. But really, our self-concept is deeply tied and attached to how we feel about ourselves and our level of worth and what we think we are deserving of. A lot of times you think you think that, oh yeah, of course I'm deserving. But when we dig in, a lot of times most people don't feel like they're good enough, which is obviously false. Once you believe you are worthy and completely deserving of love and success, which you are, a big shift happens in your life because you start to feel better on a frequent basis. I do want to say that isn't extremely natural. Most people have a natural predisposition to not feel good about themselves. Most people have a predisposition. I don't want to be generalizing too much, but a lot of people tend to have a predisposition of feeling either not good enough, not worthy enough, feeling anxious, of feeling sad. This is why our society is where it is a lot of times with the amount of alcohol and drug usage, because most people are numbing their feelings that they've either not felt, or it's taboo, or it's too burdensome, it's too heavy, it feels too much, as if it's not going to ever stop. That's just a hurtful lie that we hold on to because our emotions are temporary. And really not until recently has it been more common to see a therapist and to do inner work or to work with a coach. Until recently, it's been really shamed upon. Our self-concept becomes really a huge key player because, for one, if you don't believe you're worthy of love, if you don't believe that you're worthy of the job that you want, then you're likely feeling down on yourself, whether or not you show it to the external world. You will see it as evidence in the external world and what it's reflecting back to you. And so that's when we know sometimes it's like, tune into how you feel as your indicator, as your signal on what you need to work on. And so really our worth needs to be intertwined with our identity in order to continuously feel good. How we feel really plays a part in how we show up for things, and they determine the actions we take. But also going back to quantum physics and what we learned about energy, we know that everything at its core is made up of energy. Everything used loosely here. But we tend to experience what we've experienced so far in our lives. That's why a lot of times we feel like we're stuck in a cycle or we keep experiencing the same things, is because typically our attention is on the things that have happened to us in the past or what we are seeing. And that's why you see all the trends about being like delulu or delusional, is that because it does require a certain level of belief that you may not be seeing what is in front of you right now, but believing that it is possible for you in order to feel good so that you can match the energy of having it, so that you will gravitate to it easily, so that it will come into your life. What is really required and necessary to manifest with ease is to feel deserving, is to feel good from inside, so that when something good does happen, we don't self-sabotage it by feeling guilty or undeserving, or we don't sabotage it directly. This is too good to be true, or waiting for another shoe to drop. Through our self-concept, we build an identity that matches what we're trying to live and what we're trying to breathe, what we're trying to experience on a daily basis. Our self-concept creates the basis for what you want to experience. There is a level of self-belief and confidence that brings with it certainty, and that energy makes you a match for it. It's fitting to talk about the energy of lack and the energy of scarcity, as a common mistake that tends to block us is getting stuck in the wanting stage. By all means, we want to put our desires out there. We want to make it very clear about what we want to experience, whether it's a trip, a relationship, a job. We want to avoid being stuck in the wanting stage by then embodying and having belief that, okay, since I planted the seed, so it is. It's going to happen, and getting into that belief mode, in the mode of receiving. This energy of having what you want that makes you a great match for it. Realistically, if you consider all the times that you wanted something, like for instance, a person that, has wanted to get married for a long time, once they get married, they're not going to continue to want to get married. They're already there. So it's like about embodying the feelings that you want, the feelings that come with already having. There's this level of belief, of certainty that comes with it. It's saying, okay, I've planted a seed. I've put my desire out there. I've asked for what I want. I know it's going to happen for me. And letting it go with certainty, with faith, which exudes an energy of confidence, of trust, of surrender, of love. It's not a fear of doubt, of uncertainty, of questioning, and continuing to persistently ask for something as if you don't have it. That level of faith and belief that you instill by believing that you already have something because you've asked for it allows you to go with your day. It's of surrender. It's of letting go and allowing. Whereas in the energy of wanting, You're telling the universe, I don't believe it. I don't believe that it's already done. I don't believe that it's already on its way. I will only believe it when I see it. And that is one of the biggest mistakes. What we're attracting in that case is more experiences that prove we don't have what we want, because that's the energy we're in. We don't believe it. That's the tricky part with all of this, is that we attract what we believe to be true, and we won't receive it until we believe it. This goes back to the analogy I'm going to share at the end. It's like when you're tuning into the radio station, the music is already playing. You're just tuning in. And so that's the level of faith we need to have with our manifestation, that it already exists for us, it's happening for us, and we're just aligning ourselves to the energy of receiving it, to the energy of seeing it in our life experience and having it through our alignment with it. So everything that we covered today is really about the art of aligning with those things and how we get into the mindset, the practices that we instill so that we keep our energy high vibe and in alignment with all the things that we want to be experiencing. Because it really all has to do with feeling good. There is a big chance that everything that you've been able to manifest before, whether you did it intentionally or not, there was something that you really wanted and it came to fruition. It usually happens when we least expect it. And it's when we least expect it because we're in this flow state of enjoying life or doing things that keep us occupied in the process of living, right? And so in the process of your day-to-day life, it's whenever we are either really happy on our own or when we least expect it. Okay, so how do we get into this energy of certainty, of confidence, of believing? This is where we get really brave and address those limiting beliefs and negative thoughts heads on. Because even a sliver of doubt, even a sliver of disbelief can make a difference. It's really important to make sure that we do the inner work to really remove the negativity or the blockages that are maybe standing in the way of you attracting the things that are meant for you. Things could be waiting to come into your life, but you could be delaying them because you aren't leveling into that energy that is required in order for you to receive those things. A quick hack to change this is to get clear about your negative thoughts. Write down the negative thoughts that you're having, face them heads on, and think about the exact opposite of that thought. What would it be? Write that down. Most of our beliefs are stemming from our thoughts. So that's why we tackle our thoughts first. What evidence do I have that supports this belief? What evidence contradicts it? Have there been times when this belief was or wasn't true? I think it's just really important to dig in because a lot of the negative thoughts that we have about the things we want are assumptions. Once we do a bit of a reality check on whether or not the beliefs are facts or assumptions, then we can really get into an objective place on entertaining an alternative perspective. What would you tell a close friend or someone you loved that was, saying those same things? What advice would you give to a small child that wanted this thing? I think it's just really important to be fair with ourselves. A lot of times we don't give ourselves the same benefit of doubt that we do others. And just because something didn't work out in the past doesn't mean it wasn't meant for you. Maybe it was just everything else wasn't aligning. And this is where working with a coach becomes really beneficial because you can really dig deep and get to the root cause. Really, you do yourself a big favor by reframing this belief into something more positive, into the exact opposite, which is typically more empowering. This leads us to the next point, which is write positive affirmations, affirming your manifestation and reframing those negative beliefs and thoughts, and repeat them daily, ideally morning and night, twice a day at least. And so what positive affirmations do is they prime your energy for receiving by instilling belief, because belief is a huge part of our ability to manifest. We've heard it in every tip so far, and you hear it in every ancient writing to scripture. Our beliefs shape our reality. And so what affirmations do is when they're repeated, they create this absolute certainty around your belief. It is highly recommended to listen to affirmations when you're sleeping because your brain is in a theta state, which is in a state of receiving, is more malleable. Affirmations make what you want to experience when you say it, they make it more real in your life experience because it almost jolts your energy to speak things, evidencing that it's possible. So write down your manifestations form of an affirmation on a sticky note as a reminder on your phone and repeat it morning and night is a massive game changer. Honestly, I speak from firsthand experience. There are certain things that felt uncomfortable for me, able to shift through repeating affirmations. Think of them as watering the seeds that you planted, because whether we like it or not, we have an inner dialogue. And so through affirmations, we make that inner dialogue intentional and positive. So use your inner dialogue to serve you by writing affirmations, by speaking affirmations that support you getting your manifestation. I think affirmations also create a vital role in showing us which of our beliefs are contradicting, where our desires and our thoughts don't match up to one another. We don't recognize that we might think we desire one thing, but our beliefs and the thoughts that we have contradict it completely. Like, for instance, a lot of times I want a certain job. Oh, I want to be a singer. Like, oh, I want to be on Broadway, but I could never be on Broadway. This constant chatter around, oh, I would love that, but that'll never happen for me. It could even be like a certain amount of wealth, right? It's like, oh, that house, I could never have that. Like, there is a lot of limiting beliefs and limiting words that come into play, which is a dangerous territory because those thoughts have energy and they impact us subconsciously. They impact how we feel. They impact our level of worthiness, our beliefs subconsciously, the things that we think are possible. And you might think, no, I'm just saying that. I don't actually mean it. But words have energy, especially when we speak them out loud and share it with others too. We plant the seed of thinking some things are impossible for us, which is only true if we believe that to be. And so this is the whole point of this episode, is that you can manifest the things that you desire. You can bring into existence the life that you wish to have, but not if you are speaking the opposite of it into existence. Sorry, this episode was not intended to be on limiting beliefs, but we're finding that is a hot topic. Makes sense though, since manifesting is so much about belief and energy. And we all have negative thoughts, and it's recognizing that it's normal, but that we have tools to do the shadow work, to bring it up and to face them heads on so that they don't stand in our way, so that they don't hinder our journey, create a lot of detours for us. And so the next tip is visualization. You want to imagine clearly what you want as if it's already happening. Visualize it and see it for you. So if you want a raise, then visualize how you'll feel once you're told you got your raise, and think about all of the things that you will do once you have the raise. Doing this not only instills belief, but it gets you to match the feelings that you'll have once future you gets the things that you want. Matching your energy to the things that are waiting to come into your life, and see it for you as much as you can, as clearly as you can. And through practice, this gets easier. I think for some people, writing is easier. So this process of scripting, where you write down, like you think about, let's say you want to manifest a vacation for next summer. So then you sit down and you start writing all the details. You start writing, in Italy with X person, we're doing this today, we're going to this place. You get very specific and you explain all the things that you're doing, how it feels for you. And it's just a really fun way to shift your energy, but it's a powerful way to manifest too. Dates are really sticky and tricky with manifesting, but I have some stories, even getting dates The reason why time is so tricky is that it's more about the sequence of events and the energy of things and being ready versus a time on the calendar, especially since time is an illusion from a spiritual perspective. So you can see how all of this ties in from a spirituality point of view. If we see ourselves as spiritual beings in a human body, a lot of what takes us to the next level of experiencing life to its fullest potential is doing the inner work so that we can feel really, really good and align with our highest timeline. The next tip is inspired action. Once you do all of these things, all of these practices of visualization, of scripting, of saying affirmations, you're going to get ideas to take action. Ideas are going to come to you. You're going to be like, oh, go check out X and follow that. Like once you get nudges Once you get inspired action, take that action. You're going to get called to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe it's taking a class. What you want to remember is that you don't know the whole staircase. You just take the first step that's presented to you. If you feel a nudge, follow it, especially if it excites you. The next tip is not fixating on our manifestation. There is this art of holding on and letting go at the same time. And what I mean by that is we have to surrender and release, because that is the energy of trust. Because we know that when we surrender our manifestation, when we let go, we're not letting go because we're saying, oh, I know it's not possible for me. We're letting go by saying, I trust that it's already done. I trust that it's happening for me. I trust that the timing of it is also going to be perfect and it's going to be just right. And that's why I let go. Think of it like a gardener. If they plant a seed, and instead of watering it and just trusting that the seed is going to bloom when it's time, when it's the right season, instead the gardener would start to overwater it because it wants the seed to bloom faster. It wants to, change the soil and to make sure that the right soil was put in place. You see, this example perfectly portrays how when we interfere with the process, we can not only delay but block it entirely for as long as we continue to not let go. Through all the effort of trying to control the process, which is really beyond the gardener's control. It's like trusting the process. It is of less anxiety, of less overthinking, of less obsession, of less efforting. That's the level of trust and belief we need to have in the process, that what we want is happening for us. And when we continue to feel like we're getting rejected from a certain direction over and over again, we can see it as redirection, as rerouting for something better. It is, things always tend to work for our highest good. Even if it might be really hard to see at the time, it will make sense eventually. And here's the thing, the law of attraction and manifestation doesn't suggest that we put our lives on pause or that we sit around and wait around. The law of attraction says, choose what you want, be very clear, be very specific, take action, trust in the process, trust in the timing, trust that because you believe in it, it will be, because you envision it, it can be, because you planted a seed, it's meant for you. It's going to happen for you. Trust that your actions will yield results. And if it doesn't, there will be something better. But trust in the law of the universe and have fun. Be grateful. Be enjoying the things that are there for you. Similarly, like the gardener plants the seed, the gardener's still going on with their lives, right? They're still going out grocery shopping, they're still having dinners, they're still going to work, they're doing other things. They're not just fixating on that one seed. It's just the one of many things. We're all multifaceted. We all have many things in our lives. Otherwise, what happens is we might keep efforting. We will put roadblocks. We will be in non-belief, which is in a state of control and trying to make things happen a certain way. Whereas we don't know the how. The how is so beyond our control. Whenever you think back of other things that have worked out for you, the sequence of events, the people and places and where everyone had to be, it's just mind-blowing. It's really impossible to have predicted how it all went down. It's beyond our control, but it's fear that puts us in a place of doubt, of not believing, of uncertainty. Puts us in this scramble of controlling things, which actually just gets in our way and delays things more. So the best way to trust the process is to actually get in the process. Focus on the doing, focus on the things you enjoy in your daily life. Do things that maybe bring you excitement, get out of your mind and into your body. Do meditations. You choose what you want to do to shift your focus. But the key is that you are having fun, that you're enjoying, because that's when you're in high energy. That's why it's so important that, of course, there are times where we have to do certain things that we don't enjoy as much, but it's how can I make this fun? How can I make this enjoyable for me? Because when you are in that high vibe, feel good energy, and you're trusting the process, you're letting go, the things that you want will gravitate to you even faster. And of course, the gratitude rampage never fails. That's the next step. Get out of the waiting period, the holding pattern where we feel stuck because we're on standby mode. Because when we're in waiting energy, we're reiterating that we don't have it. And that's the energy that repels it. Instead, we want to be doing other things. We're not waiting around. We're not sitting around. We're living our lives. Especially think about doing things that bring you joy, happiness, and excitement that make you feel good. A lot of times we hear people sharing that they got what they wanted when they were least expecting it. A lot of times you hear people say it happened when they least expect it. They're busy with other things in their life, or other things are going well, or they're happy doing other things. And they're just like, that wasn't my focus at all. Whereas when someone is focused on finding a relationship, they're exuding the energy of not having it. And so they keep being mismatched with people who are not the right fit. Similarly, when we're not looking is when it tends to come in. It's coming in because, you're energetically in the space where you're ready for it. You're not obsessing over it, or you're not gripping too tight where you're repelling it. A big mindset shift and secret to manifesting easily and more quickly is to exude this energy that you already have this thing that you want with the confidence. It really is the power of embodiment, of identity, of self-concept, of visualizing, of taking action, of being grateful, of trusting, of believing, of walking the talk. Okay, so diving into trusting the process. Okay, so we already touched on timing, but I'll add that from a quantum physics perspective. There's a belief that there are multiple timelines happening all at once, multiple realities, and that we can leap into different timelines through energy work. There's a ton of quantum leap meditations on YouTube. I highly recommend checking them out. They're quite fun to do. But again, it takes us to this idea that it's more about energy. It's more about being ready. It's more about alignment with what we want. So with that, we have to trust. We have to have a little faith because we don't see everything. We can only see what is right in front of us, or our perception. We don't have the full picture. We know that for sure. Things always make more sense when we look back. I love this quote that says, "The unknown is where the love is. The unknown is where the magic is," and is so reassuring. It's so beautiful because I understand the feeling of having anxiety about the unknown. To let go with full faith that I know things will work out for me because they always have is a really powerful place to be, and a powerful place to function and live life. Trusting things to a higher wisdom, to a higher knowing, to a higher power, because things have always worked out. When you think about it, even the hardest parts of our lives have passed, and I'm sure there will be more, but they will also pass. And that knowing that impermanence of things is really comforting, and it helps to relinquish control. It feels much easier to function through life with a level of peace, of trust. And what I mean is that it's comforting to know that everything is always evolving, that, we get to experience more joy. We get to experience more fun, that the best days of our lives haven't happened yet. Like, I think that's a famous Disney quote, but also there is comfort in allowing the wisdom of the universe, a wisdom of a higher power, to help us to know that we're not alone in living this life, the profound backbone that we can each lean on. One of my favorite affirmations for manifesting is, "This or something better is manifesting for me right now." And that level of trust and faith and enthusiasm about the possibilities of the fact that life is so limitless, it can turn out so much more beautiful than you and I can imagine or think of. And by all means, imagine big and think big. But I think it's just really freeing and liberating to know that things can turn out better, and that we don't know everything, and we don't have to. Also enjoy this period of our lives, because in 1 year, in 3 years, in 10 years, you'll look back and you'll realize that you missed this time. You miss the time you have right now, whether it's you're single, you're dating. Enjoy it. Enjoy it to the fullest. Maybe you're in between jobs. Enjoy the time you have off. I mean, of course, work for what you're working towards, right? But make the most of where you are now, because we'll never get it back. Time now is unrepeatable. Actually, a Japanese proverb that says ichigo ichie, which means each moment one by one is unrepeatable. It's once in a lifetime, and to really cherish the here and now moment. Also, why acceptance is so intertwined with all of this. We find joy through acceptance and being okay with things as they are. Abraham Hicks says, you gotta love what you see, and then what you see will change, which is so profound. It's not saying that we should be settling for less, but we're in a state of non-resistance and being content and okay with what is. Where I am is where I am, and it's enough. It's this level of neutrality that is also a state of allowing, of non-resistance. It's of trust. We've touched on the law of assumption through the concepts we've talked about so far, which is really the idea that once you make an intention of something that you want to experience or you want to manifest, it's embodying the belief that it's already done. It's acting as if. And so our actions and our behavior have that level of confidence. You take action with full confidence that what you're working towards is already done, that is already happening for you. There are a lot of texts from famous philosophers and teachers that support that it's not about how smart you are, but how persistent you are and your willingness to continue even after you fail, to have the confidence to persevere. And I think the law of assumption and the law of attraction help us really have that level of confidence that's required to keep going, to have that tenacity, to believe it's already done and that we just need to take this step. Albert Einstein said, you never fail until you stop trying. And that is a powerful mindset. Before we wrap this episode up, I want to talk about some common mistakes that happen. Being too vague, focusing on the things we don't want. That's when we get into the cycle of attracting more of the same. The other thing was doubting the process, not believing, being on the fence. Non-belief delays the timeline or diverts it altogether. Things are always fluid. So if we get into a place of non-belief, we push away what's ours or create a detour. I imagine you're probably like, let me guess why, because I'm not matching the energetic frequency of it when I'm in fear and doubt and anxiety. And I will give you an A++. Wrap up with some other tools for manifesting. We talked about visualization. There are a ton of meditations on YouTube that are super helpful in doing guided visualizations. It's how I manifested my job in New York a few years ago. I did these meditations every single day. They're quantum leap meditations. They're so powerful. And then vision boards. You can make one on Canva and have it on your screensaver. I have a quick tutorial on my IG. And journaling is really powerful. We talked about scripting already. Journaling is like a really great way to get in alignment. The analogy that I'm hoping will really bring this all home and be an easy reminder for you on a day-to-day basis is thinking of manifesting as a way of tuning in to an old-fashioned radio, like tuning into the frequency of the music that you want to listen to, which is your desire, your intention. And so you pick the music that you want to listen to. So you set a clear intention with the law of attraction and then tuning into it by moving the dial. As you get closer to the frequency of your station, the signal becomes clearer. And so in manifestation terms, this is aligning your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your beliefs with your desire. So negative or conflicting beliefs, limiting beliefs are like the static. They prevent a clear connection. So getting in alignment is like tuning the dial of your radio to become very clear. Similarly, getting your manifestation is like locking onto a station. Once the dial is correctly set on the station, you are attracting. And so the music is playing, the song that you wanted is playing, is when you're in alignment with your desires. You're attracting opportunities, experiences that resonate with what you want start coming in. The doors begin to appear. They begin to open. And so this is the magic that, we see as part of manifesting. Really, the quality of your reception comes into play with your belief and the actions you take. When you're tuned into the right radio station, but, not taking action is like the antenna being broken. There is static, there is obstacles, like things aren't clear. The reception isn't clear, like it's in and out. And that's also what non-belief does. You can write that you want to manifest an opportunity as a travel influencer, but if you don't take action to post content, then that isn't just going to fall into your lap. And so that's what I think is one of the key misconceptions with manifesting, is as if things are just going to fall into your lap. Some things can and some things do. I think this episode is becoming really, really long, so definitely do a part 2. It doesn't create the music once you start, tuning for it, right? It already exists. What you want also exists for you. And so it's simply a matter of aligning with a frequency that is already broadcasting, so to speak, so that you can tune in, so that you can hear it, so that it comes to you clearly. The possibilities exist. I love this so much. Manifesting is very near and dear to my heart. As you can tell, I'm speaking of all things I'm very passionate about, of course. With all of that said, I want to encourage you to start consciously manifesting. If you don't already, let me know how it goes. I love to hear your stories on what you've manifested so far. Just remember the radio analogy and all the other tips we've shared so far about being very specific, having faith in it, believing it, embodying it as if it's already happened, and really letting it go, allowing it to turn out even better for you. Trust in the seeds you're planting. Imagine the type of impact the realization of your manifestations could have. Think about the trickling effect. Think about the impact that it can have on other people's lives. So do it for you, but do it for the world too. Do it because when you are in your highest vibe energy, you are elevating the energy of others too. One of my favorite quotes on Instagram says, "If the universe put a dream in your heart, it has every intention for you to make it happen." So let go of the resistance, let go of the anxiety, allow what's for you to come. Practice the art of allowing, the art of surrender. It feels really, really good once you lean into it. Before we end the episode, I have some exciting news. This past week, we resumed the Sunday Tea, which is a newsletter I started in February that went on a bit of a hiatus for about a month while I launched this podcast and re-strategized the format and cadence of it. It's now back. It's a short email that provides a weekly insight, an actionable tip, inspiration, and really a cup of stillness to propel you into the week ahead. If you're interested to receive it, the link is in the show notes, or you can find it on my Instagram bio or my website at sholatara.com/contact. I hope to see you there. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you were to share it with your family, friends, colleagues on your social media. Let me know what you thought of it. I love hearing from you. As a reminder, if you're new here, new episodes come out every other Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I appreciate you for being here. Until next time, I send you tons of love.